Hello, everyone. It's Andrea, and welcome to this edition of Talks in the Car. I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, and he was sharing with me how for Lent he made the decision to step away from smoking. And he was saying how he gets up in the morning typically, and he goes through his email, he drinks his coffee, he has a cigarette. He goes to work, he takes a break, he may smoke 2 cigarettes. He goes to lunch, he smokes another couple of cigarettes, takes another break, smokes another cigarette, goes home, and he eats his dinner, and he goes through maybe a pack of cigarettes a day. And he was saying how during Lent, he said even though it's extremely difficult for him, he decided that he was going to step away from cigarettes. But then as he was talking, he went on to say that he's hoping that Lent will hurry up and get over quickly so he can go back to his regular routine. So I said to him, I said, okay, look, if you have gone through all the emotions and the withdrawals and everything that goes along with stepping away from smoking for the time of Lent, why would you want to go back? It shows that you have the strength to get through it. Yes, it's difficult, but you're doing it. So why would you want to go back to something that's hurting you, that's not good for your body, that's polluting your lungs? You already have asthma. Why do we want to compound that? For your skin, all of those things. Why do you want to go back to something that's not good for you when you've already proven that you can do without it? And he said, you know what, Andrea, you are absolutely right. Why would I want to do that? He said, it's a struggle getting through this time, but I'm doing it. I was like, there you go. You're going to go through all of that just to go back to it. Why not go through all of that and then stay away from it? And so I want to put to you today, think about some of the things, and not just during Lent, but think of some of the things that you have laid aside. Maybe you've walked away from a toxic relationship. Maybe you've walked away from a particular friendship or relationship that was not good for you. Maybe you've given up a certain food. Maybe you've given up smoking. Maybe you've given up drinking. Maybe you've given up cursing. Think of all the things that you could possibly have given up during your time period. Maybe instead of being on social media 12 hours a day, you decided you're going to cut down your time so you can spend more time with your family. Maybe you've picked up reading and studying your word more than watching TV. Whatever the things is that you've laid aside, and not just during Lent, but just in general, do you want to pick those things up again, especially when they're not good for your mind, your body, and your spirit? If it's not good for you, continue to move forward and don't pick up those things. The Bible talks about laying aside every weight that easily besets us, laying aside those things that are heavy on us, laying aside those things that are not good for us, laying aside those things that are a burden to us. And I want us to really think about that, because oftentimes we find ourselves in a pattern. We give up things for a certain amount of time, and then we find ourselves trickling back and going back to it. We may have walked away from that relationship, but we find ourselves back there. We may have tried to curb our tongue from the way we speak. Maybe you were a heavy cursor. You were sarcastic. You were, snarky. Your mouth kind of got you in trouble all the time. You didn't think before you spoke, but you kind of worked on yourself. Why go back to that when now you're brand new? Maybe you were that person who had several things to drink in a day. Why go back to that? So think about it, even during this Lenten season, as we are putting aside things There are some things that it's fine to go back to. It's okay to go back to social media as long as it's not obsessive. It's okay to go back to, maybe your ice cream or your chocolate or the different things that you like to eat as long as you don't overdo it. But I want you to think about the things that you are putting aside that we don't need to come back to. Again, you may not need to go back to that relationship. You may not need to rekindle that friendship. You may not need to go back to that family member because it's a toxic situation. You may not need to go to that club anymore. You may not need to go and start watching that particular TV show again because it's not doing, it's not nurturing you. It's actually giving you bad thoughts and bad ideas and giving bad habits. Think about the things that you've laid aside, that you've put aside, that you've walked away from, and decide and make a decision. If I pick that back up again, is that going to hurt me spiritually? Is that going to hurt me mentally? Is that going to hurt my heart? Is that going to hurt my body? Or do I need to continue leaving that thing, leaving that person, leaving that TV show, leaving that social media, leaving those things behind? Some things are better away from us than they are with us. Even when it comes to people, love people, always love people, but just because you love people does not mean they need to be in your circle. There are people that I love dearly, but I also know that those people are not good for me to be around because there are not people who strengthen who I am. They are people who will continue to cause me stress. They are people who will continue to bring me down. They will continue to take me outside of my character, outside of the woman that I desire to be. And that's okay to lay aside that. That doesn't mean you're rude. That doesn't mean you're nasty. There are people who I will always speak to, always say, good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. But they are also people who, if they say, Andrea, you want to go out? No, I'm good. Thank you. And that's okay. Why? Because it's about protecting who I am. It's about making sure that I remain in the place that I have worked so hard to get to. So I encourage you today, think about the things that you've laid aside and decide whether or not you want to pick them back up. Or if there are things that you need to lay aside, it's that time now to just put them aside, say goodbye, and let it go to make you a better person, to make you stronger in your walk with God, to make you and put you in a place where you can say, I am, like they would say in the TV show, $6 Million Man back in the day. I think that was like a 70s show. To be better, stronger, faster. And that's what we all should desire to be. We should desire to be better people for ourselves, better people for God, stronger for God, stronger for ourselves, and faster to put things away, faster to move forward, faster to do the right thing. So I encourage you, think on it, pray on it. If you need to lay some things aside, go ahead and do it. If you need to continue to leave things that you've put aside already alone, continue to do that. And let's be better for ourselves and let's be better for God. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we will see you next time on Talks in the Car.